Welcome, everyone. I'm Ron Amwin from SBM St. Louis, and we are honored to have with us today Shannon Shores. And Shannon is the former entrepreneur, I guess, a former entrepreneur, former business owner. She owned a business called Wellex, and she recently sold it. And for us at SBM, it's great to actually talk with former business owners because we spend so much time talking with entrepreneurs who are knee deep in in their everyday businesses, and we don't often talk with entrepreneurs after they've sold their business and kind of reflect on the experience and what they learned along the way. So we're hoping that Shannon will tell us some of the business secrets and some business tips that she learned along the way. And maybe it will help us in our business as well. So Shannon, tell me about your company that you sold. Tell me how you got it started, what you did, and what kind of led up to you selling the business.
Sure. Well, Wellex was 5 years old on July 1st. And Wellex's flagship product was same-day STDtesting.com. Ron, I know you and I have joked from, taking pictures over the years of the queen of STD testing, which again, including testing is always important. No one wants to be the queen of STDs, right? But that's where I kind of got into it. I have a background in social work. So I'm an MSW, and I've always cared about helping others. And when I went through graduate school, I really thought I wanted to be a therapist, really help people, help them grow. But what I realized is that one-to-one relationship is great, and I help folks, but I wanted to do a bigger impact with people. And so that's why I started to kind of change my career up to do more management. And I actually was the VP at Touchpoint Autism Services. I worked with Dr. Kim McCallum running her eating disorder facility. And I learned a lot about growth and management, and really caring about the people that you serve in those arenas. So when the opportunity came available about 5 years ago to take on Wellex and be the CEO, I really at first I wasn't sure, right? Like, can I be passionate about STDs and helping people, and what can my message be? And so we started, like I said, 5 years ago with me and one other person on our team. And we reached out via the internet. So through ad spend and, at that time, we were a new website, so the SEO quite wasn't there, but SEO tactics to build as we go, and wanted to really reach out to people through the United States. And so our message really was your sex life, your business. It was important for me to grow a product that people could call us and not feel judged. Because imagine this, like if something happened in your life and someone broke your trust, we don't want to tell other people, we don't want to tell our doctor. We don't want to tell our friends, maybe our family members, because of the judgment of what that might mean to us. So that's where that passion came from, is really giving people the opportunity to choose their health and not to have to feel bad about it. And we grew with just that one concept through every decision making that we had.
Yeah, in fact, you were one of the fastest growing businesses in St. Louis. I mean, you guys were growing, a few million a year. Is that not correct? I mean, you were
doubling revenue year after year. Yes.
Yeah. So tell me what you learned along the way, and first off, tell me what led you to sell the business. What decision did you make to sell the business? Was that something you always thought about doing from the moment you started? And then tell me some of the lessons you learned along the way.
So for me, when I started 5 years ago, I knew that this was not something I wanted to do forever. It was important for me to build. It was important for me to connect people. I also wanted to grow a team. And so the success, yes, I got to be on the cover of that magazine, which was awesome. But what it didn't really reflect is all the amazing people I had in my call center, having those trusting conversations and helping people get what they needed. But so when we very first started, it really, like I said, it was me and one other person, and we were pushing like sand all day long, getting getting, the job done. I was answering sales calls. I was giving test results, doing the accounting, the HR between the two of us, right? I was doing everything, and we picked up speed rather quickly, and which was great. But in year 3, we started to get some attention from people like the Small Business Monthly that, wow, what is this company in St. Louis that's kind of rocking and rolling? And in year 3, I made a change that really shifted my outcome. And I went to a women's business conference that a friend invited me to, a colleague that I met through the way. And when I went to this conference, man, I saw this woman on the stage running this conference. Beautiful, blonde, not a hair out of place. And she spoke with so much confidence about how business people needed to start working on the business and not in the business. And that hit me, bam, right between the eyes, because I was so proud of where we came from. And I really thought as a CEO, I needed to roll up my sleeves and dig together, which is a great concept. I'm not dismissing that because that got me there. But what she said that day is that when we work on the business and give it back to that foundation that we've built so strongly, we can rocket the business in the right way. So as you know, I'm probably describing Erin Joy from the Black Dress Circle. And after that, Erin, anyone who knows Erin knows that she's very approachable and loves to talk business. So I had to have 5 minutes with her. So I pulled her aside and said, Erin Joy, I'm Shannon Shores, the queen of STD testing, because I wanted her to remember who I was. And I said, I would love just to run by what I'm doing and the success story of where we've been and, maybe talk about the next level. So to fast forward that story, Erin Joy and I had that conversation. And, within the first 5 minutes of the conversation, she said this. So tell me why you're doing $15 an hour work. And I went, what? But that's what I thought as a growing CEO I needed to do, is that I needed to own everything. And I think the other mistake that people make is that we feel like we know how to do it best. And that's not a statement of arrogance, or maybe it's a little bit of control, but that we know where we want to go, and we want to take charge of that outcome, that total ownership. And so that's what I did. And I had to hear that it was okay to let some of these things go, elevate, delegate to elevate, and to see where my company could go. So I joined Black Dress Circle, and I got to month after month sit around a table of some really amazing women in St. Louis, and also with the direction of Erin. And that would be my other recommendation, is really having a tribe that helps support you and challenges you. Because that's what they did, is that they really wanted me to do great things. And we did. We got on the Small Business Monthly again. The St. Louis Business Journal took notice of us. The Inc. 5000, we got a rating with them. I was named the top enterprising woman for Enterprising Women's Award. And so all of these great things happened. And then I was talking about kind of what the next steps was going to be for me. And I really thought this would give me an opportunity to leave on a high. That, I didn't know what Shannon Shore's next chapter would be, but I knew it was okay to make an exit, because I had, even though I was, part owner and CEO, I had other board members who own Wellex. And it was really having a conversation with them, a trusted conversation of where I wanted to go next and where the company wanted to go next. And that really helped my decision making of this was the time for me to go out and find what my next new would be.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the advice on working on your business. And I think, sometimes when you're working in your business, you don't have a clear view of what your business is all about. And it's like my wife has an uncle who owns a landscaping business in Florida. Mm-hmm. And we were out there a few years ago and visiting them. And he was telling us how his guys will trim the lawns, and then they'll walk across the street to take a look at the job they did. And my wife was like, well, why do they walk across the street? And he said, because when they're standing on the lawn, they don't get a true feel for the job that they just did. And I think a lot of times as business owners, when we're working so hard on our lawn in our business, that we don't really see what's going on. And it's not until we kind of step back and really start to work on it and look at it from a different vantage point that we see what's really going on in the business. And so I think that's a great piece of advice that unfortunately many business owners just either won't allow themselves to entertain or they can't for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Well, tell me any other ideas or things that you learned along the way that you think were really important for building the business?
For building the business, it really is. I was just talking with someone else about this today, is knowing what you do best and finding others to do the other pieces. That is that little bit of part of working, on it versus in it. But even knowing that outsourcing your CPA, knowing you need an outside accounting firm, right? What are you going to do for marketing? What are you going to do for SEO optimization? What are you doing for, your employee happiness, right? HR, or your chief happiness officer, whatever that is. Because I think what the other thing is that we think back to, we have to do it all, or also to that we have to create an internal system within our company. And what you're going to find is that brings on more liability, more tax liability, more overhead, and you have to train and almost coach those folks versus going out and finding companies that really represent you and they get your message and they stay top of the industry, right? Working with an agency, let's just use a marketing agency. They're staying top of mind with all the cutting edge with Google. We know if any of these companies work in Google, that Google likes to be kind of fickle sometimes and change the rules on us. And oftentimes we don't know that the rules changed until they changed them. Facebook algorithms, I could go on for days, that having an outside agency keeps you top of mind of what those, cutting edge, what we're doing now. And also too, that they're working with other companies. So they can also bring experience of what's working out there to you. If you have an internal team, sometimes it's hard to get that level of thinking and strategic thinking because they're in your bubble. So don't be afraid that your corporate secrets or something's going to go out. Share the wealth, but find someone though who like core values and culture is very important to me. So it was very important that in my kind of interview process for these companies that they really embodied what we did. Because you remember, I did STD testing. I didn't want anyone to think this was funny, didn't take it serious, and didn't understand that every piece of marketing material that came out of us was slick. It was empowering. It was non-judgmental. So that's the other thing too, is that also when you talk about working, on your business, is that you can have outside people and don't feel afraid that you're losing control, because you can still manage that at a higher level and you will go faster because you're not having to have to do that middle work in between, because you're paying for that level of expertise. And really, when you do the numbers, quite honestly, it's not as expensive as you think.
Right. No, I love that. Okay, so you end up selling your business, and then you're going to take some time to find yourself, right?
Yeah.
And you must be a pretty simple person, because that process was pretty quick, right? So tell me how it all it evolved after that, and now tell me about your new gig that you have.
Yeah. So Ron, I'm going to quote you and go back to my husband and say, Ron said I must be a simple person, because he'd be like, no, you're not. So Ron, that's so funny, because so I sold my business, the sell business date was April 15th, right? In the middle of COVID. So what else do you do during COVID? You sell your business. So I'm lucky that, it was able to happen, and transition was able to happen. I could hand over the torch to the new CEO of Wellex. And I'll be very honest. I mean, that's kind of a hard emotional part. Even though I was ready to sell, I was ready to move on. It's hard to hand it over. And someone said to me just recently, it's kind of like the mom letting the dad change the diaper on the new baby. you want it, you want them to be successful, you want to watch it, but you want to like over here in the side go like, you're not doing that right. Make sure you use that cream, put it there. Oh my, oh, those wipes don't work. There's too much scent. And that really is, that was kind of a hard part, is that letting go of that role for successful transition. And I want to say that too, because there is some emotion that goes into that. Even though you are ready, you really have to go through a lot of emotion to get there. So, so April 15th, I sold the business, and yes, I thought I was going to find myself, find what the next chapter was for me. And with COVID, I wasn't allowed to travel, do all these, soul-seeking things I could find. And so I was looking into the new school year, and I thought to myself, wow, there's either two options for me: homeschool my children or go back to work. So I chose going back to work because I'll tell you, that ended that homeschooling year last year.
Well, that was rough.
Teachers listening to this, hats off, and hats off to all the parents who doing the e-learning, because I could tell my child, I mean, I have two children, but the youngest one and I, we really, really struggled, and he needed something more supportive than I could provide him. So I went back to work, and it's one of those things that a lot of opportunities were finding me. People had found out through LinkedIn and other things I was leaving Wellex, and who didn't want to talk to the queen of STD testing about what was going on? So I entertained several ideas, and I wanted to find in my mind kind of a passion project, something that really ignited me again, maybe feel good about what I was doing. Another thing people will do when you sell businesses, they think automatically, you better buy another business. Why don't you be a solo entrepreneur, right?
Or a franchise owner, right? I mean,
that's
everyone I know, right?
Response. Everyone wants you to go back in business, buy their business, buy into their business, those sort of things. Because they think, well, you got money, now do it. And I did not want any part of that right now where I'm at. Not to say that Shannon Shores won't blow something up here in, some years, but I always say to people, when you get on an airplane, I'm so used to being the pilot, right? I had to know the direction, where we were going, the safety of the passengers. I didn't want to be the pilot anymore. Not right now. I wanted to be a passenger, preferably a first class passenger, with the drink service and the blanket and those sort of things. But someone else to kind of guide me, and then I could bring my energy and talent to them and help support the vision. And that's what I found. I found an opportunity at Whisper Internet, which is in Muscoda, Illinois. Now you might say, how can you be passionate about wireless internet? And I felt the exact same thing. My first interview, I thought, and I was very honest with the interviewer. I said, I don't know where the passion is here. I said, I hear what you're doing. I've heard a lot about Nathan Stuke over the years. I actually watched him. Whisper and Wellex got an award the same year. I mean, I knew the company, and I've been taking notice of their growth, and that's what interests me, but where's the passion? What I learned is that the government just gave a huge grant to Whisper. It's called the Connect America Fund. And what I get to do is roll out internet services to rural communities that people have forgotten about. I mean, I think we take for advantage that we pick up our phone and we find everything that we need, or we click to our browser. But Ron, there are people in the US that don't have that luxury at all. And when I get to come to town and say, we're bringing this to you, and we're bringing reliable, reasonable internet, that's something I can get super passionate about. And I'm so excited because the CEO here is such a visionary. And he started this company 15 years ago, like from his garage. And now we're 150 people. Like, this is the plane that I needed to get on because it's going to go far, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, I mean, you think about internet access in some of these rural communities, that they're at the businesses, the hospitals, the students who are trying to learn, they're at a huge disadvantage when they're compared to students in urban communities. So it's because they don't have the access to the internet. So I think what you guys are doing is incredible. You're trying to give them that advantage that they deserve to even the playing field.
Well, I say we connect people to the world, because think about it, everything now really revolves around the internet, especially now with COVID and this, response to e-learning. I mean, some of these schools had to go in person, maybe when they didn't feel comfortable, or had to go, more paper ways, but these kids are not getting what they need because they don't have the tools that we take advantage of. Like I was saying the other day, like I get frustrated sometimes when my Hulu spins because my signal's not as strong because we're streaming 45 devices, right? And I thought, I'm frustrated because I can't stream my, show that I love. But if I was trying to, teach my child or to look something up or directions, or that there's truly areas in the Midwest that don't have that opportunity. And I'm excited to bring it to them once and get them connected to the world.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, Shannon Shores, thank you very much for spending some time with us and sharing your story with us. Now, if we want to get in touch with Whisper, how can we do that? I want to learn more about Whisper.
Sure. We are all on the social media platforms. And you can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Facebook. We would love that. But we just updated our website. It's whisperisp.com. If you're looking for reliable services, or you feel like in the rural areas, even Wildwood, Missouri has a hard time getting internet services. And just, hey, we service that area. You can call us and we can check your area. If not, there is a tool on the website that you can check your availability. Or, if you know that there's an area who really needs it and then doesn't have it, you can find me on LinkedIn, Shannon Shores. I would love to connect. Or, sshores@whisperisp.com. Send me that scenario. We would love to do the research, and we want to bring in those areas who need us the most. And I'm your girl to find it out for you. So let's stay connected and see what we can do to connect everyone to the world of the internet.
Perfect. Well, Shannon, I thank you very much, and best of luck to you. And we'll certainly be following you on this Whisper ISP endeavor and your future endeavors. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for letting you share my journey.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.